Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of Artmaster Vision. Tonight I'm going to be painting this snazzy figure here that represents the Doctor, as you may well know, from the current series. I would say he's my favourite Doctor. The figure comes from Heresy, and it's just really nice. So we're going to start with undercoating the jacket, and for that I'm going to use German Camo Black Brown from Vallejo. I'm also going to undercoat his hair in this colour. Now, I do apologise for not having the weekly visions as I have been doing for some time. I have been quite busy over the past few weeks, which is why I haven't actually been on, but I was told that a few people still turned up last week and the week before, waiting for the vision to start, so I do apologise if anyone took the time out to do that. But basically, if I don't announce the vision either on my blog or the Steve Dean painting forum in the painting section, then I won't be doing one. So I'll try and do one every Friday at 8:30, but if I don't announce it, then it's most likely just not going to happen. So if you're unsure, before you make any plans, then just have a quick check just to make sure that I am going to be doing a vision. I've just had a request for a future vision to feature an SS Panzer Grenadier. That sounds like a good idea to me, so look out for that in the future. Now I'm going to undercoat his flesh. I'm going to use my normal flesh with Shadow's flesh, Panzer Aces. Going to add a small amount of water to it just to thin the paint slightly. I'm not quite sure what colour his trousers are. I've looked at quite a few images, and as far as I can tell, they're either black or very dark blue. But I'm leaning more towards sort of the charcoal black colour. Also, I'm not sure what colour the elbow patches are on his jacket. They're probably just dark brown, but if anyone knows otherwise, please let me know. Really well sculpted figure, this. Nice detail, very crisp. It's actually only recently that I've got into Doctor Who, this series. I watched it on and off before, but I wasn't really a big fan or anything. But since I've started watching this latest series, I've really got into it. So I think I might go back and watch the previous series with the same Doctor, played by Matt Smith. Right, now I'm going to undercoat the shirt. I'm going to use Iraqi sand. The shirt that I've seen is kind of a off-white shirt with some pink lines going through it. So what I thought I'd do is I'd base coat it with this, give it a wash with Devlin mud, just to give it that sort of not really a dirty look, but a kind of a worn look to it, and then highlight it up from there. And if I feel necessary, I'll put a few pink lines in, just to give the impression, because the lines are so small that at this scale you probably wouldn't see them. So it might not actually be necessary at all, really, to put those lines in. Okay, so the trousers, I will go with the charcoal. So what I'm going to use is German Tank Crew Black from Panzer Aces. This is a quite a dark browny black colour, and it's going to work as a highlight over the black. This particular brush that I'm using here, it's an army painter brush, hobby highlighting. Can't tell what actual number size it would be. Probably something like a 2. Yeah, I would say about that. Maybe slightly smaller, but it's good for basic highlighting. I'd say for the second highlight, or more detailed areas where you have to have a finer point, then I would go for a smaller brush. But I like this brush because, you know, it's good for base coating, and it's also good for the first highlight, as I'm doing now. So Victrix have just announced some new Austrian Napoleonics, and there's pictures on their website. I think it's actually quite exciting. I quite like Austrians, and I've heard that not only are they bringing out plastics, but they're bringing out metal figures to complement the range as well. So that's good. I do prefer metal figures to plastic ones. Um, so I think I would be more interested in the metal Austrians. But saying that, the plastic Old Guard box set they've just brought out as well, or recently brought out, is actually very nice, and I do like those quite a bit. But I guess you have to wait and see until you paint them to see how much you really like them. You know, you never can tell just by looking. Okay, so that's the first highlight on the trousers. I'm just going to do a highlight on the shoes, which will be black. So I'm going to go for black grey this time, so they've got more of a grey tone to them. Alright, so that's that. The little bow tie he's wearing, that's going to be a very dark red, so we're going to use black red. So now we're going to highlight the jacket, and we're going to use burnt umber. We want it to be sort of almost like a World War II British sort of uniform colour. So we're actually going to end up using English uniform from Vallejo as well. And I want the inside of his jacket to be quite a dark brown. So I'm probably going to leave that for now and wash that over with a Devlin mud. Okay, so the first tile on the flesh is going to be the usual flesh base. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. This is quite a worn brush. It used to be a 3-0, but it's much more like a 5-0 or even a 10-0. Just lost its bristles over time. You know, I actually think that fingers are harder to paint than faces. I find that I tend to paint between the fingers sometimes, especially if the paint is more watery, which, you know, it's not a problem because they're quite easy to fix, but it is annoying. Alright, so that's the first highlight on the flesh. I think I might just go ahead. Well, I'll wash the shirt and then I'll highlight the flesh a second time. The shirt's going to be washed with Devil and Mud. From Games Workshop. Yeah, what I do like about this figure is that because the actor itself, he's got quite a unique face, that it really comes across nicely on the figure. You know, the big cheekbones and square jaw. It's quite nice. It's good to paint a characterful face. Makes it much more interesting than painting just a normal bland face. Alright, so we'll second highlight the trousers and then we'll do the flesh. Now I'm going to use a colour highlight German black, but I might mix in some of the German tank crew black just to make sure it's not too light. Just gotta find some space on my busy palette. Yeah, because this colour's quite brown actually on its own, so I do recommend mixing some of the tank crew black in just to take the brightness down a notch. And then we'll do some sharp highlights afterwards when it's dry. The highlights on this figure actually are probably going to be a bit more subtle than I'm used to, because the actual style of the figure itself, the folds and creases are a lot more subtle in themselves, the way that it's sculpted, whereas the average War Games figure is much more pronounced in the way that the cloth or the movement in the cloth is portrayed, which suits more of a pronounced highlight effect. Alright, so now for the second highlight on the flesh. Going to use flat flesh. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the second highlight of the jacket, and we're going to use English uniform. We might add some burnt umber into it again just to make it more subtle. So some sharp highlights will probably be needed for this as well. Unfortunately, I think the camera's quite dark today, so I'm not sure if you can actually see all the detail that's being picked out on the figure. So the photographs afterwards will probably show that up a bit better. So for the shirt, I'm just going to use Iraqi sand to give it a quick highlight. The sonic screwdriver that he's getting out of his pocket, that will be silver, so I'm going to use bolt gun metal from Games Workshop. And I'm going to add some light grey to the colour we used on the trousers. This is going to be for the sharper highlights. and also for the shoes. The bow tie, we're going to use red, just to give that a little highlight. What I'll probably do at the end is zoom in on the figure. Hopefully you'll be able to make everything out a bit better. I do apologise for my chair, as always, it's squeaking away in the background. Now the elbow patches, I'm going to do flat brown, and I'm going to give the inside of the jacket a little highlight with flat brown. This is kind of a reddy brown, but I'm going to wash it just to dull it down and darken it slightly as well. And the hair, I'm going to use leather belt, which is Heresy's Vallejo. And yeah, we're just going to highlight his hair with that. I don't want it to be too bright again, so I may just wash over this. His hair's quite fine as well, so I'm probably just going to sort of just catch the highest points, and then yeah, if I do give it a wash, then that will fall in the creases, so that should make that look alright. So I'm going to paint the buttons on the shirt and the eyes. I'm going to do those white, well, off-white to be precise. Not all buttons have to be gold and silver. Sometimes it's easy to forget that. and I'm probably going to use old wood for the jacket buttons, just to make those show out a bit more. Alright, so I'm going to use Devil and Mud to wash the inside of the jacket. And the elbow patches. And we'll go over the hair with it. I might put a little bit of a bright red just on the bow tie, just to make that stand out slightly more. Okay, so I'll just dry him off, and I think that's him about finished. Okay, so I'm just going to try and zoom in now. Okay, so that's a bit better. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and again, apologies for not turning up the last 2 weeks, but do watch out for the announcements on the Steve Dean forum, because I will always announce it on there if I'm going to be doing a vision. Check out our website, artmasterstudio.co.uk, the Steve Dean forum, our YouTube page, and our blog page. Thanks again for watching, and good night.